I grew up in Pennsylvania. I had experiences with like mental illness and stuff like that from the time I was little. Just nobody knew it because this was like 30 something years ago, and so nobody was talking about it then. And that kind of led into my substance abuse. I experienced a lot of trauma as a child. I was sexually abused as a child, and I had a lot of alcoholism in my family and things like that. And my parents would have parties, and I would go fetch people their cups. And so that's kind of how I got started, because I started, I would go get a cup for someone and I'd get a cup for myself. I was 8 when I started doing that. So I started drinking fairly young, and I was a binge drinker by the time I was 14. So when I was 16, I had a back injury, and my parents took me to the doctor, and the doctor prescribed me Vicodin, and that's where I first started with narcotic pain pills. From there, I started with Oxycontins, Percocets, other pain pills. Eventually, I started using ecstasy, which is most often laced with some form of opioid. So I was looking for prescriptions probably for the next 10 years. I would go to the emergency room or whatever. And even in certain instances where I probably really didn't need pain medication. Sometimes I really did have pain, but even in instances when I really didn't need it, I would ask for the pain medicine. I did get medications, like narcotic pain pills and things like that from friends, or friends. I would go with friends to buy it, and then I would steal from family members. I would steal their pain pills. So in the beginning of 2014, I was still using and drinking heavily, and I was also doing that along with taking my medications I was prescribed for my mental health, which is never a good combination. On March 30th, 2014, I attempted suicide, and it was a nearly successful attempt. I was on life support and in a coma for 8 days. And then after that, once I was released from the hospital, everything just kind of fell apart. I lost my job, I lost my home, I lost my car, and then I lost my kids. And then eventually I lost my sanity. And so I spent the next almost 2 years homeless. In September of 2015, I had a day, September 15th, 2015, I woke up that day and I felt different, and I just felt like I was done with the way that I had been living, and something had to change. I attribute it to my faith, the change that started happening in my mind, but I started thinking, that I could take my experiences and learn from them instead of just wallowing in everything that had happened to me. So I started to participate in my services, and I started to take everything that I was learning from those and incorporate them in my life in every moment, and develop the skills to cope through days, without using, without having a breakdown. I got my kids back out of foster care, and I brought my son home from residential placement. I got married, and we did just buy a home, and I am a peer recovery specialist. Life is busy, but it's great.